Hey everyone, I know this has been highly requested since the Bungie Epic Desert Perpetual speedrun competition just concluded. A lot of people have been asking, how did you guys come up with the strats? Can you explain the strats for this run? And I'd be more than happy to in today's video. Bear in mind, I do have a flight to catch tomorrow morning, so this will probably all be recorded in one take. I will try to clean it up in a little bit of editing when I'm done recording the video and try to get it, uploaded, thumbnail and all that by, tomorrow before I leave on my flight. But I do want to get this out, earlier rather than later because I know a lot of you guys have been asking. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to say, shout out to Bungie for hosting this pretty cool raid tourney kind of speedrun sort of thing. I know they did something similar where they partnered with Destiny Tracker for the dungeon one. I think this is the first raid one that they've done. At least when I Googled it, I couldn't find any other examples of this. So really cool idea from them. Shout out to them. Of course, I love raid speedrunning, so I had to participate. And yeah, just really excited. Shout out to my teammates. Shout out to the other teams that were running as well. Had a really good time. And hopefully some of these strats will make more sense, because I know you guys have probably seen them on the big screen on our team and other teams' POVs, but hopefully now you'll get a better sense of kind of what was going on, because maybe a lot of it was not explained on the day of or when you guys were watching us doing practice. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with a brief intro. So when it comes to planning, right, I'm planning on making a video that specializes in how speedrunners actually plan and make strategies for encounters, especially new encounters like the ones in Desert Perpetual and Desert Perpetual Epic. I guess Epic's not really new, but you get the point, right? They're kind of different. How do speedrunners react to encounters and kind of develop strategies and test strategies and optimize strategies and damage rotation, stuff like that? So I really want to make like an inside a speedrunner's mind sort of series. I know that might sound kind of cringe, but a lot of people have been asking for it. How do you make builds? How do you make damage rotations? How do you optimize when encounters are known quantities, right? Whereas in day one, they're unknown quantities. Speedrunners are very excellent at optimizing encounters where there are known quantities. So I would want to make a video series about that in the future. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking, and I'll probably reference some of the clips and footage that I had of us discussing strategies from this actual raid. So that might be kind of inspiring for you guys to kind of watch behind the scenes, kind of commentary and kind of discussion between teammates on how to actually optimize a raid encounter. So there's that. A lot of these strats are going to be similar to regular DP, but because the Bungie rule set, there's like, no DSM, no like, warping, no, glitches, stuff like that. No rejoins as well, no pulling. So I think these were like the main. When I say DSM, I'm just like covering glitches generally here. So no rejoins, no pulls, no warping. And so we went in with a different team comp and sort of a different strategy, different damage strategy than what we would typically use in an RTA or like an actual, I suppose, a speedrun without rules from like Bungie. But because Bungie imposed these rules, we had a different strategy from regular DP. So instead of taking, in regular DP, we actually have, if you guys have watched the run, 5 Hunters, 1 Warlock. And we decided to take 5 Warlocks, 1 Hunter instead. And it's for a variety of reasons, but we'll go into that once I actually start explaining the run. Okay. And then since Desert Perpetual, there's some changes, obviously, from Desert Perpetual to Desert Perpetual Epic. We took our time and just identified the challenging encounters first. So that was going to be really Hob and surprisingly not Hydra, but Hob and Harpy, because those are obviously the encounters that are very, very different. Hydra, for the most part, it's kind of similar in terms of pathing and what people do. It's just harder, right? And then we had to come up with damage and stuff like that as well. And Wyvern is probably the least changed in terms of how long it is and what you really do in the encounter. It's just kind of the people who are shooting the boxes have a little bit of a harder job remembering and, shooting different pillars and stuff like that. But really not that different. So Hob and Harpy, or, Agraios and Koregos, those are going to be really the 2 encounters where we spent the most time strat crafting. The other 2, actually, we have a little channel where we plan and we write our little strats and stuff. I had bullet points for Hob and Harpy, but I actually didn't have any for Wyvern and Hydra because those 2 encounters are pretty solved and not that different from normal. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started watching the run together, shall we? So what do we got here? This is going to play. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the volume here. Going to reduce a little bit.
Right
okay.
I'll try and real It didn't work last time I did.
Okay.
Yo, what's up, you?
So,
What the fuck?
for those of you who have not watched regular Desert Perpetual, Epic Desert Perpetual is not different from regular Desert Perpetual at the start of the run. And because a lot of the time in this raid, you are gated to the animation of these 3 balls, like 9 balls, that are traveling to and from the middle and the encounter islands. So at the very, very start of the raid, you have to wait for these balls to emerge from the background, float up into the sky, and float to middle. And this time is approximately 51 to 52 seconds from the first person loading into the raid. And so because of this, you basically can run whatever class comp you want getting to the first encounter. And so a lot of people were on Titans. We were on 5 Warlocks, but even though we didn't have wells to well skate, it was not time loss for us to be on Warlocks and not Hunters who can skate right off the rib without any flag. And so Ash, she's the only Hunter in the fire team. The rest of us are on Warlocks for damage / transition purposes. We thought Warlocks were a kind of good, safe mix of consistency because, you know, everyone's on well and stuff like that. We have a lot of wells for damage. We can build them back for transition. Warlocks are obviously great on final boss for damage, etc., etc. So we thought having a good mix of Warlocks and Hunters makes sense when you actually have to do the transitions. So as you can see here,
you're doing that on.
We all have different routes. Initially, everyone was going left and people were just having fun. As long as you make it to the door on time, it's kind of fine. As long as you're there pretty consistently. So everybody would kind of just had their own route. I liked going through this middle route because there's a nice little barrier surf you can do. Ash, as you can see, taking her sweet time getting to mid. If you're wondering what this timer in the bottom right is, by the way, that is the speedrun.com timer. So for speedrun.com, we have it so that it's 51 seconds until the middle interact appears because some people might load in slower or earlier and stuff like that. So to avoid any discrepancies, we just set it to 51 seconds until the middle interact appears, and then the timer actually starts from 51 seconds. So pretty unique. There's no other raid that's really timed like this. But you know, it's the only raid where when you actually load into the raid, the time of the raid starts immediately getting impacted. Right. Whereas with other raids, as long as you stay pretty much completely still, nothing really happens. Right. Like in Wish, maybe the door opening is like the really only thing that I can think of. But really, you could go as soon as the door opened, as long as everyone was loaded in. Right. So this is the only raid where like if you sit there and you just do absolutely nothing, the balls will start flying to mid, and that will technically affect the progression of the run, if that makes sense. So we just set it to be this time. So it's kind of like
crazy. And then you can switch to solar.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's the barrier surf that I'm talking about here.
Start on
Pretty cool.
do the first gate and switch to.
So if you're not familiar, you might see this in Root of Nightmares entrance as well on Warlock. Barrier surf is basically, there's barriers in Destiny that are like soft barriers. If you try to go into them, they just push you out. And the harder you try to go into them, the harder they push you out. So they're kind of like, you know, bouncy in a way, right? And so what you can do here is if you try to push yourself up into a barrier, a vertical barrier like the one above me right now, as well as in Root of Nightmares entrance, with heat rises, and in this case, just to keep my height, you get pushed down as you swing forward, and it sends you like forward. It's you'll see what I mean. So I just hit my head on the barrier right there. It's not like a solid thing. It's like a, I don't know, kind of like an airspace. And I swing forward and it pushes me down and forward, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, and someone read this.
It's not really relevant to the run. You don't need to do this, but you know, I just thought I'd point it out.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're just chilling here. You'll see Ash is just hanging out. And at around the 51 second mark, you'll see the interact appears on Ash's screen. She's going to hold E on it. And of course, the reason why the Hunter is in mid is because the Hunter is the only person that whose entrance, transition, whatever you want to call it, actually matters, right? Because all of us are going to be in the encounter waiting for her. In RTA, I guess speedrun.com, speedrunning, not Bungie rule set, this person doesn't even get flag, right? They don't even get flag. You get in there and you start the encounter instantly. So yeah, that's the deal with everyone else. You'll see here, I'm kind of just taking my time, don't want to hit anyone because I am the checkpoint hitter. So you might be wondering, what do you mean checkpoint hitter? So Desert Perpetual was changed after it released. There were some kind of buggy interactions, annoying interactions with checkpoints and stuff that you could deal with when going through this region. There's like joining allies in this room as well, when you if you immediately went into it as it opened. So now the way it works these days, it's pretty straightforward, right? As soon as you enter this blue region, this checkpoint, the objective that kind of creates the load zone or whatever, or creates like the encounter, that one will happen after a certain amount of time, right? So you see here, everyone's heading through, and wait. They're in the room right now, by the way. There's like no bosses, right? So then the objective updates, and you'll see only when the objective updates do I jump up and cross through the load zone, as you can see here, right? So there's a load zone boundary right here. I'm just waiting outside of it. And the checkpoint is as you cross this load zone boundary. So first, the checkpoint that kind of initializes the encounter or whatever you want to call it, or initializes this transition area, that needs to hit before this checkpoint can be hit. It's not retroactive. So someone needs to be waiting on it, and that's what I'm doing, right? Now, in theory, Ash could also hit it, but that So, okay, something that's kind of something that's speedrunners are aware of, but maybe casual players and even other endgame players are not really aware of, is Destiny. Speedrunners enter load zones or enter areas from weird angles and like wrong angles all the time, or unintended angles all the time. And when you do this, a lot of the time you avoid asset load triggers, or you hit them later than they are intended to be hit. And when that happens, a lot of the time an encounter or like an area, you'll literally see the assets pop into your screen like to life. You know, they will just appear. So for example, my teammates right now, I guess we don't have any of them, they're in the encounter, but if you go watch my teammates POVs, they're literally staring at an empty encounter. There's no mini bosses there, right? There's no Epoptes there at all, right? And so a lot of the time, stuff that's interactable, just stuff where you need to interact with the game, these can kind of be buggy or delayed whenever assets are just loaded in, right? And so the reason why I go on this long-winded tangent is because if I were not to hit the checkpoint and we let Ash hit the checkpoint and we tried to place a flag right after she hit the checkpoint and the assets immediately loaded in, the flag might be annoying to place. It might not place immediately. It might just be laggy, right? And so already having this checkpoint loaded and having those assets already like loading in makes it less likely that our flag is going to be annoying, right? So it's kind of nice to have the bosses there already. So yeah, I'll just show you real quick. I hit the checkpoint and you'll see the bosses are spawned in and the flag circle has spawned in as well, and Ash is not there yet. So something we did for the tourney, you may notice in regular DP, what we do is we have someone start shooting one of the Hydra mini bosses right away. And what we're doing is called a temp flag or a temp perma, which is a bit of an oxymoron, but a temp perma / flag. Okay. And like the name implies, it is temporary. And so Bungie, there used to be this thing in raids, and it's in some dungeons still that hasn't been removed, but there used to be this thing in some raids where you could place a flag at a certain moment right as you start the encounter, and the flag would persist for the rest of the encounter. You can still only rally once, but it would be there later if you didn't want to rally right away, right? So Bungie patched that out in raids like Vogue, in King's Fall, in Garden, stuff like that. And in all raids past a certain point, like Vow and onward, since they realized people were permaing on like Caretaker on day one, they patched permas. They made it so that the time that the raid takes to erase a flag, that interval is way later now, right? And so even if you were to place a flag right as the encounter starts, the game will erase it like 5 seconds later. And so you can still do this thing, however, called a temp flag, where you basically still do a flag right as the encounter is about to start, but you just do it and you rally to it and then the flag disappears after a couple seconds. So we were doing this, but we found it to be a little bit annoying for consistency's sake. And because we're obviously running a time limited slot and we want to play as consistent as possible, even if it's not going to get us the best possible time, we opted to just like place the flag right away. Just place the flag right away. And because this encounter takes like 3, 4, 5 seconds to start after you start shooting Epoptes, we just start shooting Epoptes as Ash is shadow diving down. So you'll see here in just a second, when I hear the shadow dive noise, that's when I start shooting the boss, right? And you'll also see that our timer is 1:16 when the entrance segment is over, right? In reality, you can get like a 110 or like a 111 if Ash is really fast on entrance, or if Ash doesn't even do entrance and like we just pull Ash, which is not allowed in this rule set, it's like a 109 or like a 108 even, right? So, a bit different. We take some time loss, 5-8 seconds, but it makes it a lot more consistent, basically guarantees that Ash will get the flag. She rallies right as the flag is going to disappear, as if the flag was just going to disappear normally, right? Because there's kind of like 2 times that the game erases flags. It's when you start the encounter and then like 5 seconds later, right? So you can have a flag persist during that, like between those 2 windows, which can be nice for strats like this. You still rally at the start of the encounter, but you can also start the encounter instantly, which saves you time on ad spawns and stuff like that. So Hydra, if you guys have watched the regular DP video, this is nothing new to you, but for the most part, all you need to do is kill all of these red bars. So there's a lot of red bars on the left side, a couple red bars on the right side. They all just need to die, right? And then immediately you should get your Cyclops spawn, right? So right here, those minotaurs don't even need to die. Get your Cyclops spawn. We mark ours with Cenotaph because we use a lot of heavy ammo and you want heavy ammo for the transition. So you see 2 marks here. I kill mine using Mint. I proc honing using my Void Trace on the Minotaur. And we start heading in, right? These guys spawning in is also gated to your ad clear. So like when you get in here, you're basically just going to get here right as the lights turn on. So it's pretty much perfect. And yeah, on Epic, yeah, there's no surprises here. We just do the mechanics fast, right? We just do the mechanics fast. I will say though, Epic Epoptes is hell. This encounter is hell for the players in the side rooms. because the faster you do this encounter, the faster you get seekers and the faster ad spawn and the faster, like faster. So the faster you do this encounter, the more punishing it is, and the more mechanically demanding this role becomes. So this is kind of annoying. We definitely, there's a lot of teams that had issues in this rooms, and so did we.
3-5.
So yeah, there's also like two people saying four numbers collectively at the same time, and then there's like, there's a lot of cross comms and stuff. So
5. 3.
So again, yeah, we shoot at the same time to ensure that there's no separate seekers, and to ensure, by the way, that when you read, because this is based on when your partner shoots. When your partner shoots an eye, these two will refresh. And so it's nice to kind of shoot at the same time. So when you look and you're expecting the eyes to change, they do change. 2-6.
2-5.
Spawn camping the seekers.
2.
2. 2.
Okay.
3-5.
2-6.
I'm not gonna lie, the Ion set is a godsend in this room. It is an actual.
That's
The Ion adapter set is crazy in this room. The bosses kind of void
3.
hammer shots.
1-4.
2-4. 2-4.
Really, really great. Okay, so some of you might be aware. I'll explain
1.
after this in a second here.
1.
1-6.
1-6.
Okay.
Mirror.
So we do an extra call here, and that's so that we can know potentially which eyes need to be shot without middle calls. And so for those of you that don't know what that means, some of you might have just been itching to say it right now because you might already know about this. But if you have a call out and your partner has a call out, and their call out for you only involves one of your remaining eyes, then you know which eye it has to be. For example, if you have 1 and 5 remaining here, so you can see this is 1 and 5, and your partner calls out 1-6, then you know your last eye that you need to shoot is going to be 1, and then it's going to be 5, right? And so we type these calls in chat. Both of them are 1-6, right? And so because his call is 1-6, then I know that mine is 1, right? Because I don't have a 6. So I relay that to my partners who are outside, and they're getting on plate right now. So as soon as the suppression happens, they get a new buff and they come in. And they're also on swords. Both of them are on swords so that they can come in here instantly and get their jobs done, because we are gated to them, essentially, moving into these rooms. And sometimes these lenses can be facing the wrong way. And so it's nice for them to be on swords. We have cenotaph bricks. They can easily make up the ammo. Our hunter is doing one of these sword rolls, and we have a warlock on the sword roll as well. Our hunter has the least ammo intensive heavy-wise roll, so it makes sense that they would be on the sword. And then the warlock, they have to cope with having less heavy, but it is what it is.
Left.
So we shoot these triangles, pretty straightforward.
Shoot 6.
Ash, you're shooting. What was your call, KK?
1-6.
Mirror.
Battle RNG.
Okay, so at this point, I'm leaving. I say bad RNG, which is the wrong call here, because I couldn't really see the thing very well as I was leaving. But Ash realizes it's 1 for her, so she knows that she's shooting 1.
Good.
Oh,
No, it's not. Okay, never mind. Shoot 1. No, it's
Right.
fine.
So they know already. They're shooting, their last 2 eyes instantly, and you'll see here. Boom, right? Expunges and irregularity. Both of them see through lenses clearly, and so it is basically getting time for damage. So these mechs are a lot longer than the normal Hydra mechs, but they are still pretty fast, especially if you get good RNG and you don't need to do a second set of mid reads for your last 2 eyes. So you see here, I swap to Felwinter's Helm.
You said mirror.
I get this minnow headless, so he chases me aggressively. Because I had that little delay coming out of the room here, normally I'm out here faster, and this minnow is aggroed on me faster, but I was a little bit delayed, so... Yeah, now I'm just going to make this minnow finishable instead because he's closer. One thing to note about this, so I'm using, again, Felwinter's Helm here on an orange bar to get a 20-second, 30% debuff on this boss. Really, really important. Tractor is annoying on this boss, as you've probably seen from my POV during day 1 and out of day 1. So Tractor is pretty annoying, and... I don't know, Tether is definitely not going to last on this boss. So Felwinter is really the best debuff option you can have here. Let's say your Tractor gets ported into the side rooms, you're just losing debuff, right? So 20 seconds is super, super extendable, right? You have so much time to extend debuff. You can have multiple people on Wither and Gaze, which is an easy way to do debuff. So yeah, that's what I do here on Felwinter. I swap to Sanguine and I eat that 10-second cooldown, but it means that my teammates get a 30% debuff for the entire, basically, phase of this boss, okay? 2 of my teammates, so an adaptation that we made late into our raid practice, is 2 of them are actually on Nova Bomb. The reason for this is because they have the ability to get feast stacks pretty straightforward, easily during damage, or before damage, I should say. And then they just pop their Nova and they swap to Well, and they get their Wells back by the end of the phase because the phase is so long and you're doing damage with high super generating weapons like Mint. right? So you may also notice that we are on Whirling Ovation. Now, if you remember my kind of discussion about Whirling Ovation, I did mention that I liked it a lot less than Parasite because it just didn't have the same swap DPS. It was lagging behind the swap DPS, lagging behind in total. But we are in a unique set of circumstances here. So number one, Parasite, one of the main reasons why it's good is because of worm byproduct. And this boss is floating. And we tried doing Parasite Mint on this boss by floating up to him, parasiting him, coming back down, and then waiting until worm byproduct was over, just doing regular Parasite swaps until then. And Parasite Mint, the cadence of shooting the boss with Parasite Mint is more annoying than the cadence of using Whirling. Whirling has a very long charge time, even if you have anticipation, right? That was one of my critiques of the weapon. But this boss, naturally, you have these downtime periods where you're waiting for the shield to rotate past you, or you're moving to access that part of the rotating shield faster, those openings, right? And during this time, Whirling is kind of perfect for these moments, right? So Whirling is really nice for that reason. Number two, Whirling is a huge benefactor of Sanguine, right? So Sanguine, for those of you that don't know, gives you 4 surges matching your subclass. If you're in a rift or in a well, it could be someone else's rift or well, and you get the 10% mark on top of that. So with Whirling, because it's basically half solar, half strand damage, right? You can get 4 solar surges from Sanguine and 2 from strand. When I did my calculations for Whirling, I accounted for it having 1 of one surge and 2 of another surge, because that is how most people would use it if they were not on Sanguine. If they were on a exotic list, identity list class, that's like the neutral assumption, right? Whereas Parasite, you could assume you have 3 surges or 2 surges or whatever, right? So that's why Whirling looked mathematically worse. But in this scenario, because we're on Sanguine and because we were on Solar Warlock, because of the limitations of the Bungie rule set, Whirling makes more sense here. We tried a bunch of other stuff. We tried Haliatus with solar nades. We tried Haliatus with trip mine grenades. We tried a bunch of stuff here. And in the end, and we tried Finality, of course, Finality Mint. Everyone loves that. And in the end, what won out was Whirling with Mint, right? So the rotation that we do here is simply Whirling. I think it's 2 Mint, Whirling 2 Mint, Whirling 2 Mint, Whirling 2 Mint, or it might be 3 actually. No, it's 3 Mint, sorry. Yeah, Whirling 3 Mint, Whirling 3 Mint, Whirling 3 Mint. And 3 Mint shots is enough perfectly to fill up the anticipation meter so you get that fast charge. So take a look here. My damage is going to be inferior to that of my teammates because, again, the mark and stuff like that. I also don't have a bait mint. I don't have a bait mint. I know. I dismantled mine by accident, and I've been farming on and off, a little bit here and there to try and get one back. But, I use honing here, and I have ×4 honing, which is nice. But you'll see later on that I definitely drop honing stacks later on.
Yeah, Ash, someone else.
Extend, I think.
Oh, I thought you were.
Were you? I think you.
So you hear that we're communicating. We have a priority system when it comes to debuff. So Ash is the prismatic hunter. She has the easiest access to debuffing because she doesn't need to wither. Right? She doesn't need to ADS for a long time. She can just snare or magnetic grenade or whatever. Right? So Ash has the easiest access to weaken. Heroes also is our second in line for weaken, but both of them are teleported in right now. So me and Sayun are 3rd and 4th in line. So I think I told Sayun, like, Sayun, can you debuff? And Sayun was like, I thought you were going to debuff. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can. So I place my well. I'm 2nd well here because this kill is long enough that 1 well is not enough. And so 2nd well, it's a bit iffy because my super energy can be a little bit close because I get my well later than my teammates do. But, it's not the end of the world. So I swap to my Withering Gaze shotgun here. And Sayun also extends here, so kind of a waste, but it doesn't really matter too much. And you'll see here, it's super nice because as you're traveling to the next opening in the shield, you can start charging your Whirling, right? So it's kind of like a tailor-made rotation for this encounter. So back to 1 honing stack here, unfortunately. So I think about that. I swapped to the arc weapon. I should have swapped after shooting the void weapon. But that wasn't really going through my head at the time. I was just like, yeah, I should probably swap because, honing. Shoot a seeker if I can there a little bit. And at this point, we've run out of extension, which is, not good, but this kill is not too bad, right? If we had a debuff extension here, we probably would have gotten a much better kill. But, it is what it is, kind of just during tourney day. As long as the boss dead, it's chill. We have a weaken here at this point, 15%. Our kill really, really slows down toward the end here. I probably should have shot the rocket, but it's all good. Boss is dead. And that's it, right? So that's it for Epic Epoptes. Loadout wise, everyone is basically using the same thing here. You have a trace to swap to for inside eyes because traces are the best weapons for shooting the eyes. And Ash is on Finality Lucky Pants, I think, to get golden guns, to give us orbs, to again get our wells. So as you can see, Ash is leaving early if you take a look at the top
Slow
right
down a lot at the
of
end.
my screen right now, she's leaving early, right? And so remember how I said at the beginning of this explanation that this raid, a lot of the transitions or the entrance and stuff like that are gated to the balls moving between the middle island and the outer islands where the encounters are? Well, these balls, they only start moving at a certain trigger, right? Once you hit a certain checkpoint. And Ash, as you notice here in the top right, as she leaves the encounter load zone, so the Epoptes load zone to enter the central load zone, you'll notice that an objective gets hit right here. You see that? The objective? Ash hit that. That objective update is what starts moving the balls to the middle. So having someone leave every encounter as early as possible, like right when the encounter ends, will save you that many seconds. So if someone is 10 seconds late leaving the encounter from when the door first opens to leave the encounter, that is 10 seconds of time loss, because a lot of these transitions are simply time locked to that number, right? To like, because getting to the end of the transition by the time the balls move is fairly straightforward for pretty much every transition. So starting the balls moving as early as possible is essential. And so that's what Ash is doing. So she's leaving.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
She's doing her little route up at the top here, doing a little bounce off the ball. And then she's heading to middle, right? Some people are asking how to do mini boss skip. Some teams reached out to us or were having some struggles during their tourney session. The mini boss skip is really, there is just a I mean, I'll show you when I get there, I guess. So it can be like bigger on your screen. So yeah, there's a bunch of different routes you can take here. The main thing though is really when I turn my head, maybe we'll get a better view here. Okay, so you see these Cyclopses? These are fine, right? I think one can also spawn here. When a Cyclops spawns on this circle, that means you're in trouble. Okay, and obviously if the Hydra spawns, you're in trouble too. So those two are the mini bosses that spawn. If you spawn in the mini bosses, none of these mini bosses matter. Okay, Seiyun is, I mean, it might just be a camera angle thing, but really, you just want to avoid, you see this big red ball? You just want to avoid being, so like imagine like a border like this, right? You just want to avoid being on the left side of this red ball and like in this area. You see this? So Seiyun it's a camera trick. I think she's actually going to end up going this way in a second. But yeah, she's going like straight to the right. So yeah, basically you have two options here. You can either line off this ball, which I know some people were lining to the left here, and that's why they were spawning in mini bosses. So just make sure you line to the right. Something we, again, tried through trial and error when we were running regular DP, which this is just like regular DP this section. So, you know, nothing really new here. And then you can also line off this if you are annoyed by this kind of inclined surface. Lining off of it can be annoying sometimes. The key to lining off of inclined surfaces is simply not pressing any directional keys and doing fast inputs. That allows you to do that consistently. I went for a very safe, consistent route getting to Wyvern, because again, it was tourney stuff, and I was having some problems with my peripherals and stuff before this, so I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go for a nice, safe, easy route.
Okay. I've been very careful to not waste any of my sword ammo here.
So here really, because we're doing the transitions like manually, I guess, and not like doing the hard light death warp that you see us do in normal. Oh yeah, tragedy strikes here. Yep. Happens.
Okay, I'm
You
gonna
know?
be slow.
Not the worst though, toward the
Like
end of
all
the
your
transition.
items
Yeah.
Not the worst thing ever. But yeah, you can just boost yourself up here. Normally there's like a bounce that sends you off of that route, like up into this area. If you hit a good bounce, you can kind of just bounce like straight forward into like where we are right now. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds behind the last person to rally, so not the worst, but you know,
Sorry.
not great either.
White.
In the grand scheme of things though, in an event like this, you are running for minutes and not running for seconds.
White.
Just aiming to get a run. And so, you know, not the worst. Okay, let's talk about Wyvern. So Wyvern, there's 3 different zones. Immediately, when the encounter is starting, someone picks up the spawn vision pool, the Oculus, and reads. So you can hear them. What do they say?
White.
White. Okay. So if it's bad RNG, the people who are on the top right, so the right side of the map where there's kind of like yellow, bright yellow, green, in the kind of pain corner over there, they have the furthest distance to cover to get to the hoop. And so if it's them first, it's quite slow. If it's us first, not too bad. And if it's the spawn people first, that's the best RNG, right? Obviously, if you were on swords, so this is one change that we would make. On Hydra, in RTA or like, you know, non-Bungie rules, we'd probably still rocket that boss. Grapple meleeing is very annoying, but you'd probably grapple melee this boss, right? And so because you're probably going to grapple melee this boss, you could afford to be on swords and not need to have a lot of heavy ammo. And so, yeah, on hunters, it would be less punishing because we'd probably be on like stasis and be shatterlining or grappling or something on prismatic in order to cut down the time between killing the minotaurs and getting into the hoop. But yeah, it's bad RNG as K3 says because white is the Chronon color up here. And so they are going to be kind of slow.
I'm not.
We lose some time on Wyvern because of this. Seiyun is reading the next call.
Misalines.
It's fine. It's fine. Grab another.
Okay, so something that happens that's super weird here is Chronon's misaligned. This is a text string that appears in both this encounter and I believe Epic Koregos. We saw that, and normal Koregos. So any encounter really where there's a hoop that you can dunk into, it can say Chronon's misaligned. Our suspicion as to what causes this, we've only seen this like 3 times ever running both raids. I think what causes this is when you dunk right when the color is going to change, like right when it decides the new color. And so there's like a really, really tight window where you can do this, where it just doesn't accept your dunk, but it doesn't kill you either. So really, really weird stuff. Yeah, I don't know. This almost never happens. But the reaction is simple, right? Because it's on the first 2 dunks, one of those people can just go back and get another white Chronon and be the last to dunk. So it would be white, maybe red, blue, white, for example.
Come on, grab another one. It's okay.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Red.
You guys go first.
Okay. So another thing that you can do, by the way, is much like Koregos, where Koregos, after you do your, let's say Koregos, it's white, and then you assume it's going to be blue, right? Let's say you just know, you have a premonition, it's going to be blue next after on normal Koregos. If you have 2 people jump through on white, the second, if you have Oculus, you'll know what I'm talking about if you have Oculus and you have Absolute, and you're watching the hoop, right? When people dunk, after the first person dunks, maybe 2-3 seconds later, the hoop turns off, right? For a long period of time. And then it turns back on with the new color. When the hoop turns off, that's actually when the hoop has decided the new color already. So if you know what the next color is going to be, you can immediately jump through. So me and Seiyun here, right?
And
We immediately jump through as soon as the red turns off because we know it's going to be blue next. And the people who are, you know, hanging out, as soon as, you know, we jump through and they wait a couple seconds, they know they can jump through right away as well without needing to wait for the new color to show. So that's like some time save that you can have if you know what the color is going to be. Okay.
Yeah.
So I swapped some stuff here. You know, start stacking honing, getting parasite stacks because we are on parasite mid for this encounter. And basically what we do here is we just have 3 people on the plates right away. Whoever is the last dunker, because we have 1 dunker per pair. Whoever's the last dunker, they call out when they're you know, going to be dunking and ready on their plate. And then I always shoot the diamond because I can see it. And then we have the people on plates read because the person that's climbing, which is in this case Ash, our hunter, she doesn't know what, you know, plate is going to have the little jars appear next to the plate. So it makes the most sense for the people who are actually next to that plate to read before shooting. So you'll see here, blue, red, blue. I'm even a little slow here to read, and my roll is like the tightest to seeing my pillar because I need to go quite a, you know, distance here. But it's definitely doable. Even if I was a little slow and I was reloading and whatever, it's still doable, right? So definitely a little like risky, but we practiced this like encounter enough where like we knew that we could just do this every time. So a little close there, but you know, pretty chill.
white, blue.
So just 1 each. This encounter is a lot easier when you do everything first try, right? Like you don't need to sit as longer. The person climbing isn't just up there for
All
longer.
blue. Bottom damage.
And it's already damaged. Look at that, right?
Or misaligned on the what the fuck?
So you might be wondering, why do all of us place our wells here? Why don't we do the Nova thing that we were doing on Hydra? So the thing about this boss, right, is Wyverns, I believe, take 54-ish% more super damage. Or the actual technicality is that Wyverns, they have damage resist against everything but supers, but it works out in a way that super damage does 54% more than normal weapon damage would do to Wyverns, right? And Iatros is a Wyvern, right? And so another thing is that when you're in your well and you are the well caster, right? You're in your own well and you do weapon damage. We've had discussions on this channel about how it counts as super damage. Well, it doesn't for the super stat, and that's probably for a good reason, right? 45% increase to, you know, your wellcaster's damage is a little OP. But it does count as super damage for this guy. So everyone being on well, your parasite and your mint are going to be doing 45% more than or sorry, not 45, 54% more. I got confused with the super stat, than a titan or a hunter would be in your well, right? So
Timer.
Fuck is missing.
here, I'm just, you know, I have stacks for my toning here. Boom, 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 boom. I do 3 on the first,
One got through.
2 on the second.
Broken something.
And look at this guy's health. I mean, beautiful Phoenix dive there, timed with the both diastole pulse.
Just leave, just leave.
Yeah, I'm out.
Kills pretty good. Ash tells us when she's going to leave and does one more tractor so that someone can debuff extend. And yeah, so you can see she's already leaving. She's like at the door. She's even a little late here because of our kill being faster than she expected.
Chronon's misalignment.
So
Chronon's
Crazy,
misalignment.
bro. That is fucking
she's
crazy.
making her way out.
Yeah, he dunked like as like
I don't have my well here, but it doesn't matter. This is the transition that matters the least in the entire raid. There's only one thing that matters during this transition, unless you are insanely slow, right? You could be on a Titan, you could be on a Hunter, you can be on whatever subclass you want, and you will make the first part of this transition on time. So there's only one thing that matters, and that's, you guessed it, Ash getting out on
color
time.
was changing on my screen.
And the Wyvern spawns on the bridge, the very first Wyvern, there's a frame roll, right? And the frame roll is very, very punishing. It's very, very, very punishing. It's like 15, 20 seconds, something like that. So Ash just needs to haul ass and get to the middle as quickly as possible. So you can see here, she does a little bounce.
I guess it was just. I guess there's like a specific instant where
and
nothing is
she
chosen, like
goes on
while
this
it's changing.
sphere here, does another line, and the region detection for the Wyvern spawns is kind of like in this area. So she's already made it. As long as she doesn't mess up basically those 2 lines, she's a little bit slow, but as long as she's not insanely slow or like, you know, messes up a line here, she'll make it, and the Wyvern should spawn fairly quickly. So yeah, there you go. Wyvern spawns right away. You might have seen like on some other teams, if someone messes up this part, the Wyverns take forever to spawn. It's like 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds of time loss. So everyone else just needs to make it here by the time the 5th Wyvern spawns. Like, I mean, ideally before, so they can help with killing, you know, Wyverns 1 through 4. But you're gated to the 5th Wyvern spawning in and dying.
Leave
And
fast,
so-
yo.
It is.
You'll see here, I don't have my well, but it really doesn't matter, right? I just tell my teammates, yeah, I'm probably not going to help you guys with the Wyverns. I'm probably just going to, you know, leave, right?
One.
Yeah,
So, first Wyvern, we're calling out the
I'm going
Wyverns so
straight
we
to the
know
fucking
when to get ready to leave.
2.
Two.
Okay, there we go. Pick up the heavy brick from the cenotaph
3.
mark from one of my teammates. And I'm just going to make my way to the middle interact, all right? So as soon as those mini bosses are dead, also you might be wondering, can you skip Wyvern mini bosses? We've tried a variety of routes. Maybe you can, but we've tried a bunch of stuff and you probably can't. So it would be nice though, because these Wyverns take forever to spawn.
Four.
So yeah, a lot of the transitions in this raid, you're waiting around, right? For stuff to happen because the balls and also the Wyverns in this case. So yeah, boom. This transition's really chill. On any class, really, you're just kind of just going straight down. I mean, I guess on Titan, you can't really skate.
Bad bounce. Probably last.
Really, really straightforward. Just straight lines over open terrain. What more can you ask for, really? And, you know, we're just going to line to the flag. Place well, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're at hub.
On Ash call.
Good.
Yeah, so she's last. We just wait for her. We start. Boom. Okay, so Horb Gorblin. This was one of 2 encounters that required a lot of re-strategizing from normal. Obviously, there's colors of Chronons in this encounter, so they're definitely more annoying than normal. Whereas normal, you can just dunk blues wherever you want, right? As long as they're in the correct soup, I suppose. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. How do we set this up? So I'm not going to go too in depth here in terms of like the communication and the planning and stuff like that, but I will discuss the strategy. The planning and, you know, strat crafting, that'll be saved for another video. Otherwise, this video will be 2 hours long. So we have, I would like to, this is not a very dark background. You know what? It's fine. Okay. So we have, let me get my pen here. Yeah. So there are 5 portals and there's also 5 spawn doors, right? Very convenient. what does person number 6 do? Person number 6 is the aligner, and they also help kill the Hydras a lot, right? So we had our 6th player, which is Ash. She's on Hunter. She has Celestial Nighthawk. She has Still Hunt with Celestial Nighthawk, and both of these can be used to absolutely nuke 2 of the Hydras solo. So everybody else can be focused on the mechs, right? So that's what our 6th player is doing. The remaining 5 players, everyone takes a door. Really easy. There's one door here, there's one door over here, there's one door all the way in the back over there, there's one door 4 kind of hidden, and then there's the 5th portal, which is like closer to the entrance, like opposite this one, right? So everyone takes a door. What happens next? Kill the ads. All the ads matter here, so try to kill as many of them as you can on time. Mine goes 2, 2, 1, my door, so as soon as I kill that last one, I know I'm done. I line to Ash. We have different people marking the Hydras because everyone needs a little bit of ammo because everyone starts on a sword. Right, everyone starts on a sword for this encounter because it speeds up the mechs a lot, right? Whereas on Wyvern, it doesn't really speed up the mechs that much. I mean, at the start, dunking might be a little bit faster if you have bad RNG. And then for, Hydra, having some people on swords during some parts of the encounter, you saw that. But for the most part, don't need to be on swords. This encounter is different. Everybody's on a sword. So, Ash here, she's on Still Hunt. She gives me Radiant so I can tag this guy through his shield. I mark him and I instantly leave. She kills him.
3 white, 2 blue.
And we hear a call out, 3 white, 2 blue. Now, this does not reference the hoop. This references the distribution of Chronons. So why is Heroes calling out the distribution of Chronons that are spawning from this guy being killed, from this Hydra being killed? That's a good question. So let's go ahead and get into the basics of the strategy. If you guys are curious about the intricacies of the strategy, I explain our Hobgoblin dunking strategy fully on Reddit. Yes, there's a Reddit comment. If you go to Raid Secrets, someone was asking like how to do Hobgoblin properly. And I made like a really long comment. Maybe I'll link it in the pinned comments or something. It's like very verbose, okay? But I'll get into kind of the summary here. So there's a couple of facts that you need to know about Hobgoblin that are pretty important in order to understand the dunking strategy and why this is optimal. We did some testing and this kind of ended up being the best strategy. You can get all of the mechanics done in Hobgoblin in 3 Hydras worth of time, which is the minimum because you need 11 Chronons in this counter to actually complete the mechanics. You need 2 to read. So you need 2 to read. You need 4 for set 1. So 1 set. And then you need 5. Or sorry, wrong way. 5 for set 1. And then you need 4 for set 2. 2 plus 5 plus 4 is 11. And every Hydra spawns 5 minotaurs, which means you need a minimum of 3 Hydras. So how do we do it in the minimum number of Hydras? Good question. So when you first get into this encounter and you kill a Hydra, the Chronon colors, they are going to have a 3-2 split, as you probably know. The 3-2 split is going to be for 2 colors, white, blue, blue, red, white, whatever, right? And you are going to need to read. You're going to need to read. You're going to need to dunk 1 of each of these in order to read, unless you want to RNG, but, that's a pretty terrible idea. So you're just going to read, right? You're just going to use 2 of them to read. And the hoop in the middle, just a little quirk about it is as soon as it turns off, just like in other encounters, you can dunk again. And it will give you new calls without replacing them erroneously. And so that's what we're doing, right? We call out 3 white, 2 blue, whatever it is. And we have the bottom 4 people. So you have 1, 2, 3, which is really far away, 4, 5. These 4 people, right? They are guaranteed to get 1 of each Chronon, right? Among these 4 people, they're guaranteed to get 1 of each Chronon. Worst case scenario, right? It's like these 3 people have white and these 2 people have blue, then at least you have this guy that has blue. So we have like a little priority system. Who is like the best equipped to dunking the first Chronon? Who is best equipped to dunking the second Chronon? We have sort of like a cascading priority system. And I'll explain why we have that in a second here. So we need to dunk a specific color of Chronon first. Why is that, right? So you'll hear in just a second.
So you're blue. I'm white.
You do white,
I'm white.
Okay, so again, that's us discussing who is what order in the priority system, 3 white, 2 blue. We need to dunk the blue one first. We need to dunk the blue one first and the white one second. So we dunk the 2 color first and then the 3 color second. Why is that? Well, when you dunk a Chronon, as I'm sure you know from contest or from watching other people clear this raid, when you dunk a Chronon, the remaining 2 colors, so if you dunk white, you get blue, red. The remaining 2 colors are what the next wave of Minotaurs is going to spawn. Now, if you think about it like this, let's say you start with 3 white, 2 blue. If you dunk a white, so we have 2 white, 2 blue remaining on the players, right? You will guaranteed have at least 2 white Chronons for the next phase, which is going to be turning on all 5. Turning on all 5, the maximum white you can have during this section is 2 white. You might even have just 1 white. Okay, so you've secured, white Chronons for whatever you need to dunk for the 5 the first set, whatever you want to call it, the turning on the portals, right? So you've secured the white. So what do you do with the blue and red then? So when you dunk white last, it guarantees that the respawning minotaurs are going to be blue and red. Okay, so this just guarantees that in your first 10 Chronons, in your first 10 minotaurs, you have all the Chronons that you need to dunk. So that's why we do the 2 color first and the white, the 3 color second, which is in this case white. So blue's being dunked right now.
Good.
We're looking.
One.
Read.
I call 1. Everyone's scattered, just calling what they
Say
see.
again?
4, 4,
1,
4,
4.
1, 4.
Okay. I'm supposed to be getting on plate here. We established that just, getting on plate during this time was the best. Initially, we would get on plate before killing the first Minotaurs, but now we do it after the first Minotaurs are dead, because it allows for, facilities for faster like pickups and dunking if need be.
Please.
Yeah. So we get on plate here.
2.
Probably 5.
Anything else?
5, yeah, 5.
Okay, cool. I make a special finisher here. I have Ariana's Vow with stacks on stacks and 2 shield break charges, which instantly gives me 3 armor charges off of breaking a Minotaur shield, which allows me to instantly get a special finisher without much thought. I swap to my mints.
We need 2,
I got
3, 4. We need 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so people are calling out. We need 2, 3, 4. I dunk
got
in
4.
2.
I'm getting 3.
Saiyum's keyboard is like on Japanese for some
I'm getting 3.
reason.
I'm getting 3.
So the numbers look very weird.
I'm saving on.
So yeah, another thing that we did in this encounter that I didn't mention earlier is that so Bungie patched Chronon transfer or Chronon carryover, where like at the end of Hobgoblin, if you're holding onto a Chronon, it gets wiped from your inventory. However, if you kill a Minotaur as the encounter is ending, the Chronon on the ground will persist. And if you pick up the Chronon from the ground after the encounter is over and the boss is dead, you can bring that Chronon to the next encounter, or in this case, for us, it's going to be Koregos. So we started stratting around this, where during the second wave of Minotaurs, you can basically guarantee that your team will have 3 Chronons by the end of the encounter that they can save, 3 Minotaurs that they can save. One of them is going to be from the 3rd set of Minotaurs, because one of them is an extraneous, right? It's 4 out of 5. You only need 4 out of 5 Minotaurs. One of them is going to be a saved one, right? And then you can also save 2 of the Minotaurs from this cycle. But the way that you save in this cycle is as follows. So watch this.
On 1.
So I said I'm going to save on 1, right? Because Heroes is dunking for me. Me and him both have the same color here. He's going to dunk. And I'm going to take care of this Minotaur here. So I don't kill him, right? What do I do?
I'm saving on 5.
We're waiting.
Align.
We call a line as soon as all of these, Chronons have been dunked and the portals are on. And that way, when you align, it spawns the next Hydra, right? So the first Hydra is based on ad clear. The second Hydra is time locked. And then the third Hydra, it spawns when you align. So this is going to be our last Hydra here. And so you'll see here,
Align.
the second align happens, I kill my Minotaur instantly, right? And the reason for this is because notice the yellow particles here. When you align, it also changes the Chronon jars, right? It doesn't, even if you don't dunk in the hoop, it changes the Chronon jars. And some of you might have noticed during contests or in subsequent clears that the Chronon distribution in this encounter includes different colors, all 3 colors. It changes to have all 3 colors during this alignment laser phase. Okay. And so we did some testing, and I realized after, 7, 8 wipes or so, I kind of was keeping track of the Chronons and where they were appearing in like a little Excel spreadsheet. And I realized that the distribution of the Chronons in this encounter during the laser phase is always the exact same as the distribution of Chronons you need. So if it's 2 blue, 2 white, 2 red, like we have here, so it would be like blue, white, red, blue, white, right? So BWR, BW. The Minotaurs that spawn, there's going to be 2 blue, 2 white, and 2 red. And so we were originally going to have this very convoluted strat where, certain people carry over, certain people hold Chronons, and it's scuffed, right? Scuffed stuff, the flowchart would be complicated. But now all we do is we just use the 3rd wave of Minotaurs because they're guaranteed to have the correct Chronons, and we just use them to dunk. Right? Now, something important to note is that alignment, it changes the colors of Minotaurs, right? And if you change the color of a jar, right, the Minotaurs that are already alive that spawned from that jar's portal, so the 1 Minotaur here, even though technically when he first spawned, the jar was a different color, now that the jar is a new color, when I kill him, he's going to drop the new color. And so what this means is that we can use, this Minotaur can be used as a proxy for a 3rd wave distribution matched Minotaur. So let's say initially when we were running around, it was 3 red, 2 blue. And then once the alignment happens, we're going to get 2 blue, 2 white, 1 red. Now this Minotaur, maybe it would have been a red that we wouldn't have needed if I killed it before the alignment. But because I kill it after the alignment, it's going to drop a white. Or maybe it'll drop a white. Maybe it'll drop something else. Who knows? But let's say it drops a white, right? Then after the Hydra's dead, the next Minotaur that spawns is also going to drop a white. And we can use him as to save him. We don't need to kill him, right? So here, I kill
5.
1, 4.
at this point, me and K3, we call it the portals. Everybody here, because Ash is doesn't have a Nighthawk anymore, doesn't have Still Hunt anymore, we all just team shot this Hydra, right? I am noob, right? My sword didn't swing when I pulled it out. I was like pressing left click, didn't swing when I pulled it out, so I just like hide behind this thing, and I just help team shot it a little bit here. And right here, while people are picking up their Chronons, they call what they're going to dunk after looking in chat, right? So you might have, you know, an extra blue that you don't need. That person, they just hang on to it. Or maybe it's like 2 blue, 2 white, 1 red, but the red is one of the is the portal that you don't need. That Minotaur just gets left on the ground, right? So here, I pick up
one.
blue. I say I'm gonna get 1.
got 5.
I dunk in 1. I let go of W by accident when I'm micro stashing, so it micro stashes backwards.
Got two.
But yeah, I dunk, and we change to the damage loadout. Damage loadout here, I have a bipod and surrounded the when and where. So I start on bipod to get maximum ammo conversion, and then when I shoot bricks here, you'll see that. So you'll see the Minotaur that spawned from 1. He is 1 HP, but or he is quite low, but he is going to be saved. Hopefully he doesn't aggro on us, and we can save him to final stand, and then kill him then and pick up the Chronon after the encounter is over. So yeah, we have multiple people doing this kind of save thing. There's one on 5 as well.
We're
Whose
missing
dunk isn't done?
Right.
I think Brio
Did
kind of like forgot to kill his Minotaur or something somehow. Yeah, I mean, there's his Minotaur over there, I think. So yeah,
I did 5.
yeah, we're missing
did
a dunk
too.
here.
We're missing.
I did it.
We're missing 4 then. We're missing 4.
Little bit
It's a blue
scuffed.
on 4. It should. It's. I think it's Bria's minnow.
So he's gonna be
we can
slow.
save it. It's fine.
This Minotaur just gets absolutely
it's fine.
destroyed.
Wait, just wait.
Round.
I almost died going into the portal there.
I marked the
Here's
Wyvern.
eyes. Yeah, this is definitely our most scuffed encounter during the journey,
Kill the
but
Wyvern.
yeah, this is a bit chaotic. Somehow that doesn't drop a heavy brick for me, even though someone else marked and I killed.
Salmon.
Whatever. So you'll see here when I shoot this brick, I get 2,
We have me on 5, 4,
2 ammo,
3, 2.
which is all I need. Because if I was not on bipod, I would probably only get 1 brick, I think.
Whatever.
So I swapped this surrounded. I swapped my scav to a surge. Because you have a lot of time when this boss is coming down, right? As you probably know if you've done this raid before, you have a lot of time. So you can make manual loadout swaps to save your loadout slots. If you saw in my loadout menu there, I'm using all 12 loadouts for this raid. So, you know, not having to use an extra loadout slot or having to compress another encounter's loadout so that I could have an extra damage loadout for this encounter would be annoying. So I do some manual swaps here, like the good old days. I know I have a lot of time left here, so I actually go and pick up this heavy brick that I've made off of Killing Ned. And yeah, we just do tessellation plus surrounded when and where here. I move back a little bit to get surrounded. Miss a rocket there, GG. Ash is on Galley and Tractor and Prismatic Hunter Extension and Goldie. And Goldie's the boss in the head a couple times at the end of her rotation so that we can get some extra orbs for our wells. Because having your well for this next transition is pretty important. So, yeah, just chilling. Shooting the boss. Surrounded kill is pretty chill. Surrounded is super, super easy to keep in this encounter if people don't kill ads. The ads are fairly resilient and they are not very, very close to you, so they're not going to get blown up. So pretty chill. I save 1 rocket for final, which is something that we kind of agreed to do because our final stand, like our final stand, like after the clones are gone, is not very good. So we decided to save rockets.
It's only 1 minute, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So here, I place a rift for Sanguine.
Sick
And
with
I
the
miss this guy because he's strafing. And these guys, they get like stunned momentarily, like when you first damage them because it like knocks off their head or whatever. But because I missed all my shots here, he's still strafing when I shoot tessellation at him. So yeah, I have to shoot a rocket, which sucks, but here's what it is.
I dodged my thing.
Kind of just, you know.
I'm just getting the minnow. I'm just getting the minnow.
Okay, we're not even last year. Okay, it doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Yeah, normally I would have like a tessellation loaded for like final stand, but kind of whatever. It's a bit scuffed, is what it is. We kill the boss, and then remember that minnow I killed earlier?
I'll grab.
His red
It's
Chronon
fine, it's
is sitting on the ground.
You
So I
have
pick it up,
what? You have
I have a
red?
red.
and we get ready to leave. And also, obviously, for final stand, we have 2 people on each plate, and we, as you guys might know, you can pre-identify where your final stand clone is going to be because it's going to be directly under wherever the boss was, right? So if you get absolute buff, then the absolute boss is going to be under where the absolute boss was during the encounter. So people kind of just pre-remember this, or they don't. It doesn't matter that much, to be honest. Like you usually identify it pretty quickly. So
We have only 1, but
Me
Did
and
anyone
Brio.
mark any of the clones?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We had like an unusually
I got
low amount of
one,
ammo
I
in this
got
encounter.
one. I got one.
It doesn't really matter that much though. Like as long as I have my well, I should be on time for transition.
Yeah,
Yeah, K3 is.
Keep some
Yeah, in this particular instance, I actually wasn't on time to middle interact because Sane was out on time and I spent a lot of time looking for ammo. But it's not the end of the world. So here, yeah, transition, pretty chill, easy well bounce. Sane was the one out early this time because
Yeah.
she has a well and ammo, and I think Ash was under more limited circumstances.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I think K3 does a line off of the back ledge there while he's marking, so
I can make it to interact. Just go.
he is going to be up there.
Make it faster. Go,
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 go.
go, go, go.
Yeah. We call go, right? So you see how he was interacting with that ball? Again, these transitions are all gated to balls moving. So even if you kill the minotaurs very, very quickly and you're up at this tower, if you've watched us stream runs before, a lot of the time we're just staring at the ball, waiting for it to turn over before you can even interact with it. So in this particular instance, because me and K3 spent so much time getting ammo, you know, the ball was kind of turning around by the time we got there. And so he interacted with it first. And as soon as we see the ball turning, we say go, and then people start getting ready to drop because, like, you know, it's going to turn on. Okay, this transition, pretty straightforward. We're all just taking our time, making sure not to place, because there's a lot of downhill slopes here where you can slip while you're trying to line. You know?
Can I
Nice and
insist
easy.
there?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
I usually try to line off that bottom ledge there because it, you know, gives you more clearance for your head. But as long as you find the right gap, you can line from the top ledge there. And yeah, okay, we're going to talk about the final boss. Because this boss's voice line takes so long, if everybody's on time on transition, the first person to get there can really just shoot the boss, like, right away to start.
Well.
And yeah. Encounter starts when she says, like, with its corpse.
Thanks.
And everyone's here, like, more than on
Like
time.
she test the
right?
thing.
Yeah, I'm going.
And then here, you can test Chronons. We tested, like, the right timing for this. The encounter decides on Chronons as soon as the ghost appears, like when the encounter actually starts. So yeah, I just test. We literally decided to do this Chronon testing thing like the day before, so it was a little uncoordinated. I think I like said in a previous practice that we should like have people like sit up there to res me or like whoever else is going to dunk the Chronon, because you can just float again like with Weewalk straight into the hoop like this. But I think people forgot, so that's kind of whatever.
Oh,
Res me. Someone has to have stayed up, guys. We talked
I
about
will,
this.
doesn't. It's fine.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's
K3 launches me down, which is nice. Okay, so how does this encounter strat work? I'm going to assume you know how to do this encounter, okay? Because if you don't, this is going to be way longer to explain. So there's kind of two layers of RNG here, right? Let's actually talk about the encounter's time gates first. So what is actually gating? What is preventing you from progressing into the encounter, okay? So the first thing that stops you is banishment. You need to go through all 6 banishes in your fire team before the encounter actually progresses, because that is what causes the imp to spawn. Right, the imp is going to spawn inside of the laser portal, and that's what causes the imp to spawn. When the imp spawns, that's when you get the wyvern, and the wyvern drops the chronons, and the chronons go in the hoop, and then the hoop starts the minigame. Once you break the crystal and stuff, and then you can do damage. Right. Obviously, there's like crystal and stuff as well, but this is kind of like the sequence of things you need to do in the encounter. So how do you cleanse 6 banishes as fast as possible? Well, naturally, the first thing that our minds went to was, why don't we just have all 6 people sit down there where the cubes are and just like hold E where we know the cubes are going to spawn in, or hold interact where we know the cubes are going to spawn in. And then we can instantly cleanse 4 banishes. And then the remaining 2 people who are last, they can just go into the laser portal. Now, the problem with this is that, number one, you could have, there's 4 cubes and 6 people. So you're going to have people double up. And, naturally, that's going to be a little bit awkward if 2 people end up being on the same cube and, they both are the ones that are banished. That's kind of awkward, right? Number 2 is that there is a faster way of banishing than interacting, and it's called auto banishing, right? And the way that auto banishing works is, that's just a fancy term that I made up, but basically if you're in a portal and the game chooses to try to banish you, it immediately just skips past you and goes on to the next person, right? As long as you and the person that you're paired with are both inside. So if you have 6 people down there, when you could have had people being in the laser portal instantly and getting auto banished, it's going to be time loss. So how do you create a strategy that is essentially the same time in the worst case scenario, but it saves time in the best case scenario? It's kind of like a programming dilemma, right? You have algorithms. Some of them are, you want to account for the best case and the worst case, right? And the worst case scenario here is, maybe, you just the wrong people are banished, right? Or you have the wrong laser portal, whatever, right? And the best case scenario is you could have 4 people get auto banished inside instantly, and 2 people outside are just hitting cubes right away, bang, and it's done, Okay, so how do you account for both cases? So when we start the encounter, Ashe and Heroes, we have a priority system. So Ashe and Heroes, Hunter and Solar Warlock, everybody else is on Strand, as you've seen, Haliatus, Arms Race. You have the Hunter and the Solar Warlock stay down. They stay down and they sit on the cubes. And the remaining 4 people, they have their backs against the laser portal's wall. Okay, so watch this.
Blue and
4 people. You see this? 4 people. Me and my homies. You know, on the radar.
And white,
we're sitting here
and then white,
and we're holding S into the portal. And you notice it sucks us in instantly. Now, there's a chance that the laser portal is not the first one open. In which case, the 2 people that get called, if they're on the ledge, they soar down to a cube. They interact with it, and then the 2 people that are down there, if they're not called, they go back up. So we have a little bit of a cycle, right? If you're not called, you go back up if you're down already. So if Ashe and Heroes, if neither of them is called, they need to go up. And then if you are called, then you go down, right? And then you spend 1 round down and then you go up, right? So this basically allows it so that with substitutions, you always have 4 people on the portal ledge with the laser, and you always have 2 people down, right? This guarantees that every single time the portal opens, whether the portal opens first, second, or third, you always have 4 people going in, right? Now, I mentioned there was a priority system, and the reason for this is because, number 1, we want someone who can kill the first Wyvern instantly. We want someone who can kill the first Wyvern instantly. Who is that? That's Ashe, right? Because she is on Nighthawk. She's on Nighthawk, Celestial Nighthawk with Radiant and I think a debuff, or with high enough super, one-shots the Wyvern with a body, right? So if we get the best possible RNG, we get the right Chronon first, Ashe nukes that thing, instantly dunks it, and everyone else dunks too, right? So we want the Hunter out. We don't want the Hunter in the minigame room. Number 2 is the Solar Warlock. The Solar Warlock, they are on Cenotaph. So they're the one marking for the other people that are running around on swords. The Solar Warlock is also on a sword, but their ammo matters the least, let's just say, because their damage is the worst compared to the Strand Warlocks, and also they're marking, right? They're marking. So yeah, those are the 2 people that we want out. So what if the Solar Warlock, so Heroes, and the Hunter, Ashe, they get forced to go in because they jump up to the ledge and the portal opens and 2 other people are down there? Well, we have a priority system on the inside as well. Okay. And basically we have a chain. It goes like me, Seiyun, and then I think like K3, Brio, Heroes, Ashe, or something like that. It goes in that order. And the 4 people that are in the portal, right? The 2 people at the front of that chain, at the front of that priority system queue. So like, let's say me, Seiyun, K3, and Heroes are in the portal. Me and Seiyun would do the minigame mechs, and K3 and Heroes would start getting ready to leave and kill the Cyclops and stuff like that. Now, how it ended up turning, that was how I theorized it in my head. How it ended up turning out is that whenever you make strategies for an encounter, there's always like, small little timings, right? That you don't really know until people do their roles and you get a feeling for the encounter. So you kind of try to estimate these. And so I thought like the Cyclops and like the Imps and stuff like that, they would be a lot tighter in proximity to the minigame and stuff like that. So I thought, you need different people doing different things. But in reality, when we go in, everybody just team shots the Cyclops and the Imps and stuff like that, because the minigame takes forever to start, because obviously, you need to do quite a few things first.
Okay,
It's okay.
So we use Still Hunt. We're on Mint, Still Hunt Sword, Still Hunt, even on on Warlock and not Hunter. Pretty good for dealing with like the Cyclopses. Less annoying than stuff like Tessellation and Mint. So we just kind of
Does he need to queue?
Still Hunt.
No, we're good. Imp spawning.
And then we instantly kill the Imp because we pre-aligned to blue. Right, so I dunked red. We always go blue, red, white regardless. If you're just raw RNGing, blue, red, white is the best order in terms of where the alignment capsules are, because blue red is like the cleanest, easiest, because I believe red is like right next to the dunk, so it's like really easy to get to. So if it's like blue red, it's like not too bad. Again, it's not red, so we would go blue white here. So I think I reminded Heroes at some point here because it's not red, but it ended up being blue here for us anyway. So even if we didn't do the Chronon thing from Hob, like we still would have gotten good RNG here, but whatever. We killed the Imp.
Okay, killed.
Wyvern spawns. Ashe is gonna pop Goldie here in a sec and nuke the guy. I almost go into a portal there, so I weave walk midair to stop my momentum.
Kill the Cyclops.
Yeah. Cyclops outside is like slow to die here, but yeah, my job is to kind of just like stay alive and kill the ads in this area until the minigame is going to start and I see them start chunking the Chronons. So yeah, I just have Mint here with like Envious on.
Yeah.
I think it actually is red. I don't know, whatever. I have Mint with like 3 Emogen mods and like, a bunch of stuff on
blue,
so that
but
I can
yeah,
basically just keep killing stuff.
Should we kill another imp?
No, we're good.
No.
Okay.
Kill Cyclops.
I was under the impression that someone had died with a Chronon, so apparently not. They're just going to be kind of slow.
Thank you.
They killed their Cyclops like really slowly, so these mechs are a little bit slow, even though we got good RNG. Like normally, minigame would already be started by now. But yeah, I'm waiting.
Blinking last year.
Yeah, ready. Well, 3-1.
Can you mark?
Good.
Can you mark? Can you mark?
Okay.
Yeah.
I use Tessellation here to just like nuke half this guy's health bar, and then we
Skill
weave
fast.
walk skate out.
Yeah.
And then this just gives us a couple, like, you know, threadlings to start here. This floor surface is really weird. Like the Chronons and like the Wyvern's wings can block these heavy bricks. So you'll see
Ready?
me get a hit marker and like a thing on my crosshair that indicates that I shot the brick. So I'm like, yeah, I got the brick. And then I look at my ammo, I don't have the brick. I shoot it directly, I don't have the brick. So I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'll just walk over the brick. So I walk over the brick and damage starts. Okay. But yeah, basically we have someone, so like, you know how I said there's like 4 people that go into the portals. We like, let's say we number them 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 and 4, one of those people gets the plate buff before they leave, maybe both of them, and they just use that plate buff to open the crystal instantly, so that me and Seiyun, because in this case me and Seiyun are doing max, we don't have to, you know, get ammo and open the crystal. Anybody with the temporality buff can open the crystal, so me and Seiyun don't have to do it, someone else can do it, and then once they open the crystal, someone else outside is like waiting to shoot. We have people like ready for that. And then here my rotation is like a little scuffed because I'm pretty sure I don't have armor charge, and that started freaking me out, and I was like looking around the well to try and like get armor charge. I also just like messed up my reload timing
I just
here.
realized I don't have servers.
I'm like looking around. I'm pretty sure I do have armor charge, but there's so many buffs on my screen that I can't actually tell. But yeah, pretty scuffed rotation for me because I was
Shooting
Kinda like
with
panicking.
the
So
Chronon.
much time if we don't kill, like.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
okay. We kill the boss. You know, it's a little ugly, but you know, gets the job done.
Oh, sorry. I just didn't have surges and I like fucked my rotation because of that.
Yeah. So pretty
It's-
straightforward. Our warlock is on assembler and touch of flame solar nades, and you know the whole works, and just trying to get their well back. Needle storm warlocks on thread of ascent, threadling grenade, pack tactics, whatever. Haliatus, cluster aggregate, and the warlock is on tractor debuff extending with galley. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward, I think.
And like, yeah, this, as long as we don't fuck final, it's good.
Yeah. So that is max for Koregos, and then for final stand, we are all on sword, mountaintop, mint, that sort of thing. My teammates are blasting mint at this little harpy. And Seiyun gets 1. I get 2. I like move out of it too much here. A little camera angle sensitive. We have different people getting different cubes. It's a little dependent because some people, you know, get knocked out of the way or whatever, and they just, you know, don't get the cube. Someone else gets it for them. But yeah, we have people kind of floating in place, ready to get the cubes when they spawn in. 1 and 2 are obviously, can't really pre-float those because, you know, they're right there when you get there pretty much. But yeah, 3, 4, 5, and 6 people are kind of designated for those. 6, Seiyun actually goes backward from placing well, so that, you know, she doesn't need to do 6 and then place her well, and then also help with final max. So she places her well first, then goes backward.
4.
5.
I swap to horseman and edge transit
6.
here with sticky grenades and explosive light.
Left.
I'm pre-aiming at my crystals in case it's me, and it is me. So
Right.
I do that. That was pretty fast from us, actually. Nice job to my teammates breaking the crystals. That was pretty fast.
Damage.
Lemon.
Yeah. And I like strafe back right here because I think that I only have 3 explosive light. In reality, I have 7 explosive light, so I didn't need to strafe here. I thought I shot at the tame, but really I shot Seiyun in the back of the head because I was moving backward. But yeah. Final, pretty chill.
That's actually
That is the RTA time. RTA time ends when the boss like explodes / decoherence imminent appears. The Bungie time is based on in-game time, which is going to be a decent bit longer, like, you know, 50 seconds longer than this or something like that. But yeah,
PB as well.
There's like
that is pretty much it. I mean, final stand, we're on warlocks. We're on well warlocks so that we can all skate to the door. You could be on, I don't know, like a damage super or something like that instead and lose time getting to the door and instead make up the time in final or something like that. But we just, you know, we're just on warlocks.
17 of us, like
Whatever.
One just
Yeah, I'm getting out. Okay, yeah, we can be done.
Okay. Honestly, this video wasn't too bad. I didn't make too many mistakes. I probably don't even need to edit it. Hopefully, I
What was
didn't
that?
misspeak at some
That's
point.
probably like a
Maybe
low
I did.
17
Who
in game.
knows? But again, you guys were highly requesting this
You
video,
guys
so
wanna
I'm
keep going,
just
or-
trying to get it out as quickly as possible.
I mean,
Yeah, is there even a point?
so
Like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah. Shout out to my team. Practiced, you know, pretty hard, and we're planning on running this raid for like speedrun.com rules, like on hundreds and stuff. So this is a nice kind of like warm up for us, just getting familiar with like mechs and stuff like that. Not much to change besides damage strats and maybe a little bit of transition stuff. And yeah, we got this run pretty fast. It was like in the first, I think like 40 minutes of our slot. So yeah, shout out to my teammates. Very nice performance from them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all she wrote. In game time, there's a fair amount of randomness between like the boss dying and when you get mission complete. So that's why, if you're wondering, the timer ends on boss kill rather than on mission complete, because we try to avoid randomness that players can't control to that degree. So yeah, that is pretty much it. That is Epic Desert Perpetual. Strats are going to change a little bit when we get to running on hunters for like speedrun.com rules. The time will probably be reduced to something like a 12 or a 13 if I had to guess. Maybe not that optimistic, maybe a 13 or a 14. I don't know about 12, but yeah, hunters, really entrance, we're going to be pulling Ash. She's not going to get the flag. That's number one. Number two is Epoptes is probably going to be done on legendary rockets and not whirling ovation, because we're going to be again on hunters, probably Bacchus abused with like Lord of Wolves and like Trakinus or Mint or something like that. And then for transitions, we're going to be DSMing to Wyvern, as you've seen in normal DP. For actual Wyvern, we're probably going to be doing grapple melees. And then what else is there? Wyvern to Hob is not going to look much different besides having the 3-3 split. So 3 people are going to start Hob, and a couple people are just going to sit back and get ammo and stuff like that. And then Hob mechanics are going to look pretty much the same. Damage is going to be grapple melee, right? Because Syntho's super easy, surrounded is super easy, so Synthos should be pretty much the same thing. And then what else is there? Hob to Harpy is going to be probably a full transition. I mean, you can death warp as well, but may as well do a full transition, because it's not particularly hard if everyone's on hunter, and maybe I'll death warp because I'm on warlock, and I probably won't have a well, but we'll see what happens. And then what else is there? And then yeah, final, we're probably just going to do damage on Bacchus and rockets rather than doing damage on Sanguine and rockets on Strand with the one and wear. That is pretty much it. Final stand is going to look pretty similar. I imagine maybe we'll be on like 5 Nighthawks or something instead, and just grapple Ascension to the thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little explanation. Again, shout out to Bungie for organizing this. Had a lot of fun running. And hopefully it brings more people into being interested on raid speedruns and stuff like that, because there's a lot of other raids that are being speedrun and are pretty interesting to watch and learn about. So I'll see you guys later. I'm taking a brief couple day trip, and then I'll come back. And then when I come back, we will get back to damage testing. Hopefully I'll finish rotations by the end of the season, or by the end of this DLC. Probably not, but we'll see what happens. I've done a lot of base value stuff, so yeah. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later, and have a wonderful day.